Well, hello, everyone. Sandy Giroux here, and I want to talk today about how to say no without feeling guilty. There are so many people who just feel so bad about saying no to a simple request that their guilt kicks in and tries to make them say yes. So today we're going to talk about when and why to say no and how to do it without feeling guilty. Now, I want to start with a little story. Years back, when I was early in my career, I was between jobs for a while and I needed a job desperately. And I went to an employment agency. One day, I got a job offer from the employment counselor. And she said, Sandy, someone wants to offer you a job, and it's a job as a technical typist. Now, because I was between jobs and really needed a job badly, I wanted to say yes. But if you have ever been on a program with me, a webinar, a live in person one, or even just seen any of my videos, you could probably imagine how ill suited I would be for that job. In fact, think about it. What do you think a technical typist does all day? Yeah, sits in front of a typewriter and interacts with no one. Can you see me in a technical typist position? No. Well, thank goodness my employment counselor, when I started to say yes, said, Sandy, don't take that job. That is not a good position for you. You will hate that job. And she talked me out of it. She said, look, something better is going to come along. But don't just take this out of desperation, which I almost did. Luckily for me and for her, and by the way, she was getting paid a commission, so it was not in her best interest to tell me to refuse or decline the job because then she didn't get paid. But she was willing to wait for pay to get the right job for me as well. Luckily, I listened to her, and within 2 weeks, I did get the right position, one that was awesome. It was one of my very first higher level assistant positions, and it set me up for training and experience and expertise that has helped me build an entire lifetime of a career that I love. So don't just jump out of desperation and say yes. But here are some reasons why you might want to say no. Okay, the first one is if it doesn't suit your personality, like that technical typist position, it wasn't good for me. Or there might be other things that people will say, hey, would you mind doing this? But you're not really comfortable with it. Now, I'm not trying to say never stretch yourself out of your comfort zone. But I am trying to say if you're going to be really uncomfortable doing what they're asking, that's a good reason for you to say no to that opportunity. Another one is if it just doesn't fit your values. If you feel like that's not the right thing to do, or at least not for you, no judgment involved, but it's just not for you, then don't say yes to that request. Also, if you feel that you're not going to be able to cram it into your already busy schedule and be able to do the job well, then don't say yes. Because what happens is I know myself. And when I say yes to a particularly big project, especially, and especially if there's a leadership type of position involved, I throw myself into it all the way. But that means that either that's going to suffer if I don't do that, or if I do that, which I know me and I know I probably will, that means other things are going to suffer. And it could just be my sanity, but I need to say no to those things. Now, here's another reason why you might want to say no. If it's only going to be something that will stroke your ego, if you're only doing it because you're so honored or flattered that someone would ask you to do it, but it doesn't meet the other criteria that it fits your personality or your values, or you have time, or you can do the job well, then don't just take it because it's going to make either you or them feel good and kind of stroke your ego. It's not a good reason to say yes. Also, what if you're being pressured from outside to do something? Everybody's telling you that you should do this, you ought to do this, you need to do this. Don't let them pressure you. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. Maybe it's right for them, but it may not be right for you. And you don't have to feel guilty about saying no to these things. Or sometimes your gut is telling you this is not the right thing to do. It's just telling you to stop, hold on, rethink this. It's funny, your gut is rarely wrong. We all have that little intuition, what they call that gut feeling, right? And I'll bet you can think of times when you have had a feeling about something, you followed that feeling, and you were really glad that you did, can't you? And on the other hand, I'll bet there are times that you can think of where you had that feeling, you ignored it, and you were sorry you did later. Don't ignore that gut feeling. It is very rarely wrong. So, what can you say? What can you do? How do you say no? Well, here's one of my favorite things because it really just honors the request and is honest about who I am and why I'm saying no at this time. I sometimes say, I appreciate the offer or the request. Let them know I really appreciate it, but I know myself. I never jump into anything without giving my all or without giving 100%. And I just don't have the time or the bandwidth or the ability to do the job well or right, whatever you want to say, for you at this time. So I'll have to decline, but please keep me in mind for future opportunities to serve or to help or to do whatever, right? So it covers all the bases. It lets them know you appreciate it, but then it lets them know the reason why you can't take it is just because you know yourself and you really don't want to do half the job for them when you should be doing 100%. You could also say, if it's some kind of a business suggestion for you, thank you, but this is just not part of my business model or my business plan right now. Or it just doesn't feel like the right opportunity for me, whether it's business or not, it just doesn't feel like the right opportunity right now. Or if it's a career thing, it just doesn't fit my career goals at this time. See, you're just being honest about why it's not the right thing for you right now. But then you could also say, I can't take on that role at this time, but may I help in another capacity? So, what this does is kind of try to find a compromise, right? You don't have to do the whole thing that they're asking for, but you also don't have to do nothing. Maybe there's a way for you to do a small piece of the project or a little area where you've got some expertise and you do have enough time to handle that. So, you don't have to say a complete and total no, it's a partial no and a partial yes. So think about that. The general principles that I want you to follow when you have to say no to anybody are, first, be diplomatic. Don't just slam them down. Why are you asking me that right now? How do they know what your schedule is, right? So be diplomatic and just tell them delicately and diplomatically, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that at this time. And tell the truth. If you're trying to find some way to lie about it, they will see through that. And so just be transparent. Let them know the truth about why you can't do it, unless it's something that, you really just feel they're doing wrong and you don't want to say that. I mean, I'm not sure why, but you may just want to back off from it because it's not right for you. And then you just have to say, I'm sorry, this isn't just the right opportunity for me, which is still the truth. But show gratitude. It's really an honor that somebody is asking you to do something. So I can see the temptation to say yes just because of that honor, but that's not the reason to say yes. You can still honor the request and say no at the same time. Be sure to offer other help if there's something else that you can do. And just always, always, always be kind. If you follow these guidelines and find diplomatic ways to let people know why and when you can't help or you can't help in a certain capacity, then there is no reason for you to feel guilty at all. Now, if you liked this video, I'd love it if you would just hit the like button down below, leave a comment. I'd love to hear any comments that you have. And if you don't want to miss any other of our videos in this playlist, please subscribe to our channel and you'll be notified whenever we put something new out there. I hope to see you on the next video, and I hope this has been helpful. See you later.